What's up, everybody? It's Jaret for the Rockstar Dad Show. Coming up this week on the program, we've got Jason and Jamie from the Parents Lounge. We're going to talk parenting and acting and paranormal, and man, it's going to be a hoot. That's this week on the Rockstar Dad Show.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know. Some rockstar dads who started a show. So here's the next episode.
Welcome to the Rockstar Dad Show. Oh my God, just a cough right over the intro.
No, sorry.
Okay,
go. I'm done.
No, we're keeping this. We're keeping it. It's me.
It's real. It's real.
That's right. It's me, Jaret. And Gary is, as always, is here. Hey, we're doing something a little bit different today. We've got the guys from the podcast, The Parents Lounge. Jason and Jamie are here. And super excited to have these guys. Now, we did your show several months ago. And we
had a blast.
We had so much fun. I was like, let's just all get together. We'll do a whole episode of our show. And people can kind of get a vibe of you guys. And maybe see what a real podcast is all about.
We'll have Rogan on later today. Is Rogan coming on?
How's it going, fellas?
It's good. It's end of summer. I just dropped my kids at camp. I got to pick them up in 2 hours. It's like one of those 3-hour camps where you're like, "What? Why are we doing this?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait for school to start.
Yeah.
Those 3-hour camps, it's like it creates a busier day for you than if the kids are just home.
I could just sit in the parking lot and like read a book or something.
I do that.
I forgot our son at 3-hour camp the one day.
Dude, I have been known to sit for 2 to 3 hours, and I just work on social media stuff and like film TikToks, do cameos, whatever. I mean, just, pass the time because it's the drive there is a third of the camp time. It's just but I don't know. But they get,
I do that in the car pickup line after school, like waiting to pick the kids up from school. Cause you're sitting there for 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you have to get there early because the flipping rush, man, I got to tell you guys this. So, and this is a good opening topic, I think, because I was waiting to talk to Gary about this. And I'm wondering, where are you guys? Are y'all both in LA?
No, we split the coast. He's in Pennsylvania, and
I'm near Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're up there by Rob. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Our bass player's in the Poconos, and I fly into Scranton when I go visit the baby.
We have a show in October and I'm flying into Scranton. I just booked a flight. He's like, there's an airport in Scranton. I was like, of course there is.
Yeah,
because of the office. Yeah, it's fun.
Man, don't try to return your rental car before 7 a.m. though, because there's fucking nobody there. I just parked it and sent him an email. But just like, it's there. It's on the premises. Maybe find that third key fob and just walk around a little bit. But
long story short, you now own a Toyota, whatever Corolla
that thing
that you don't drive anymore.
No,
you land there and you use you take the shuttle to the rental car desk, and it's actually like some dude's house. It's like Tom's house.
No,
it's on Main Street. And he just opens the door. It's like 3 in the morning.
Tom.
He goes, the car's there.
Tom's a good buddy of mine. He's my third cousin on my mom's side.
It's just called Tom's Rent-A-Car.
He just throws you the keys. He literally has one car. He's like, yeah, I guess you can use it for the day, man. Just bring it back.
It's right next to Bob's Bank. You guys, so school just started here, and it's the craziest damn thing to see, because I don't know. I think we talked about this before. Jamie, you and I are about the same age, I think. And I think Jason and Gary, I think, are about the same age. And I just guessed on that part, if I'm being completely honest. But I think
I was just going to let it go. Maybe you're right. Who knows? I
think we're all around the same age. And the first day of school, when I was a kid, like, you just fucking went, like, there was no bells and whistles. There was no teachers giving high fives and parents walking in. So we go to drop Everett off for his first day of 5th grade. And the amount of people in this town still walking their 3rd and 4th graders in for the first day of school is unbelievable. Like, it literally shut down half the city. And we're like one of 6 elementary schools. And it's like I talk about the differences in sort of like parents' involvement and just, you know, school overall. But is that your experience too? Do you guys just have, when you show up for the first day of school, is it fucking Armageddon?
Jason?
So ours is like a rolling drop off. Like they don't allow, like there's always a mom who tries to buck the system and walk them in, but the teachers like will literally push the parents back into the car.
Even on the first day?
Yeah, first day. Still
No
herding
shit.
herding cattle.
Good.
Unless they're in kindergarten and it's the first day.
Okay.
But first grade on up, it's cattle time.
That's the way it should be. And that's the way I always thought it was, but not at this fucking school. What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. We were talking about this the other night about like we are like this generation is so coddled that when they get out in the real world, they're like, wait, I was told I would get a trophy for finishing 13th. I'm so confused. What's happening? When I was a kid, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a new pair of Toughskins. That was it. 100%. And then my mother was like, end of the street. And I just would walk to the end of the street. Like all the kids would come out and go down the street together to that bus stop, but that was it. I mean, there was nothing. No. Well, and also everyone has to take a photo of like, you know, so in case there's a predator out there, they're like, hey, if you're looking for a fourth grader, here's the school mine's at. Well, mine's right here.
We talked this about on our show where the police in Indiana had to put up an example of what's acceptable on those. And one of the things they labeled was don't put the child's social security number. And I was like, who went that far?
Crazy
They
people.
needed to put the social security number.
Guys, I got to tell you something. So I rode a bike and I you know, and I was very lucky to be able to do that, but we had to cross a highway and we had one crossing guard and not a highway, but a busy street, a 4-lane road cross, you know, where it crosses, right? So a major fucking street for a 6-year-old, but you're exactly right. I mean, it was like E.T. Like Brett Thompson would start where he lived on Prince Edward and he would go up my street and I would file in line and all the other kids would just and off we went. We all crossed at the same time and there we went. But so here's the other thing. They don't lock their bikes. There's not one lock on one bike at the school. Not one.
Nope.
Okay, Jaret, I'm going to go back and fill everyone in. But on my school, my kid's school, I think they do like up to first grade where they let the parents go in, right?
I forgot to ask you, Gary. I got excited.
Okay.
I got excited.
But no one locks their bikes at our school either. And I'm just like, anyone that wants like 50 free bikes, they're just right here.
Right.
But Jason, you hit on something too. I thought this the other day. And I hadn't seen any police department post or anything, but the parents are posting, you know, the first day, the kid's name, the kid's teacher, the kid's school. Like that is a huge security risk, I would imagine.
Not to mention the teacher's name. It's not hard to find that in a staff.
You're giving a lot of important information to strangers.
Yeah.
It's just like predators in August. Instead of going on Amazon or going to Instagram and just searching and going, oh, what do I want for September? What do I want for September?
I just I have a country band now. And so I'm back in the van. I just bought a van. And my wife and all of our friends, I was buying one and it was white. And they were like, you literally cannot buy a white van.
You can't, dude.
You can't.
No windows, just panel like a panel van.
Know, right? But they were like, and I was like, yeah, like one of those old ones that has like a scene of horses on the side, you know?
But, and the little like a cross-shaped window on the back.
Just on the back though, right? Yeah. I mean, that was like our football coach had one of those, and we just used to pile into that fucker. I didn't realize we were at risk. Now, but anyway, I got a silver one, and I don't think it's as bad. But still, anytime I'm stopped by a school, I wonder if people are staring at me because, you know, windows are tinted. You know,
Jaret, my son has so little of an idea what like vans actually are. You know, like exactly the van you're describing.
Yeah.
And whatever we pulled up to your house to come pick something up, you know, a couple of weeks ago, he saw your silver van, and he's like, "What's he offering kids candy in the neighborhood now?"
Oh my God! Yeah, because he doesn't know that there's an actual use for it, right?
Yeah.
He
Well,
doesn't.
no, but I mean, your van doesn't look like that type of van. He's of the generation that's like they don't really see those vans out and about anymore.
You don't. You just don't. I mean,
you
there's
got to
not.
walk around the front of the school with your arm in a sling and just be like, "Hey, can somebody help me put my couch into my van?"
Oh my God! Yeah, it's so funny. My wife had a conversation with our now 10-year-old when he was about 6, and she said, going through the thing like, now if somebody comes up and they want you to help them look for a puppy, what do? Well, I go find an adult. And she goes, now what if a stranger comes up and offers you candy? What do you do? And he goes, well, I take the candy. And she goes, no, that's bad. And he's like, but I want the candy is the thing. And he literally just said that. And it was like, oh my God, we've got some work to do. But so you guys you're still in summer, Jamie. What about you, Jason?
I am counting. I have a timer on my watch. It's counting down until the days next week when those 3 little raccoon shits go back to school.
Yeah. And Gary, are your kids are in, right? We're probably on the same schedule.
Yeah, we started last Thursday, so today's day 5 of our kids' school, and I'm ready for summer break, man.
Is Mia in kindergarten?
Mia is in kindergarten, and Tyler now has decided he's doing football, so I've got to have him at the school at 7:30 in the morning.
They do a pre-school.
You got to lift. Yo,
how
bro,
old-
what do
how
you
old is
bench? What do you bench, bro?
He's 12. He's in 7th grade.
Yeah,
They started that early in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so hot here, they want to have it done early. So
that's
they get
true.
there before school, and then first period is athletics.
Fucking pussies. See, we had to say after school. You did too, right?
Oh,
After
100%.
school, so, like we didn't fucking get picked up till like 4:45 or something. The hottest point of the day. You're just out there. All right, now we are talking to Jamie and Jason from the podcast, The Parents Lounge, and you guys. Let's talk about your kids. Jason, tell us about your little. What'd you call them? Raccoons. Little.
Yeah, my feral raccoons.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I have a 7-year-old son named Jace, who is in the no filter phase of life.
Okay.
He asked me if I grew the goatee to hide my 4th and 5th chin. He held, while we were doing laundry, he held up a pair of my underwear and he's like, these are so big, we could make a sweet hammock in the backyard. So I'm like,
yeah.
And then I have twin 4-year-olds,
boy.
2 boys who have aged me by 10 years, are the reason I drink, and are both nonverbal. So they're the reason I drink extra.
Right. Nonverbal, meaning, are they diagnosed with something are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. They have global developmental delay, and they are. We're doing genetic testing right now. They think that the twins are missing chromosomes, and so they are not sure they will ever be able to speak in the same way we do. But we're working with a medical team at Geisinger Medical Facility to try and figure out, what it is we're dealing with,
right,
and the best way to combat that.
How are other motor skills? I mean, is that also delayed as well, or as far as like walking?
They have a tremor. They do this shaking thing that is kind of a concern. Other than that, they're pretty normal as far as that goes. But there are just a few little tweaks in the system, we call them.
And listen, not to find humor in a dark topic, but I mean, I think the rest of us are like, man, there were certain days I would honestly really enjoy my children being nonverbal.
Yeah.
I think.
So you think that,
Yeah.
but
certain days I could honestly, if there was a switch in the back of the head and I go, oh, nonverbal, I didn't even see this switch. And then the kid
100%.
shuts down.
You gotta say.
nonverbal is not the same as non-vocal. They're still very vocal. They
Right.
communicate with either sign language.
That's what I was going to ask. I'm glad you said that.
A series of ape-like grunting,
Okay.
Or also like this hybrid English/gibberish that sounds like a minion talking from Despicable Me. They're like, and they talk back and forth to each other, and they seem to understand what they're saying to each other. We don't know what they're saying, but they know.
I am so
Maybe I should
glad
get
you
mine
said that.
tested then, because mine talks like a cat all the time. And I'm like, hey, dude, you're 10. Cut the cat. Cut it. The
Jamie.
cat is getting old.
Are you, Jamie? Is that a bit, or are you serious? Because I really want you to be serious on this.
I'm dead serious.
I have a fucking 10-year-old cat too.
It's not a bit, but
No.
I'm like, I go, Hannah, you're 10. You gotta stop with the. I'm a cat, dude.
Yeah. No.
Killing me.
You say, Everett, go do this. Meow. And he fucking meows. He thinks he's thought he was a fucking cat since he was 4 years old.
Jason's kid's been a velociraptor for the last few years.
Tyler doesn't do any of that. He just continuously says stupid shit. And I'm like, hey, stop saying stupid shit.
Well, that's all of our kids, really.
Jamie, how old are your little ones?
10 and 8.
Okay.
And my 8-year-old is back east with my wife visiting in-law. It's so funny. The in-laws must be like, do you even have a husband?
Right.
Because she keeps taking like one kid back and I'm like, no, I'll stay and hold the fort down. Yeah. We have a dog and stuff. And then, so I don't go back, but unfortunately she's gone for a week and my 10-year-old, all of a sudden now is terrified. So instead of my wife, my 10-year-old sleeping in my bed, every night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you try to watch TV at 9 and I guess, I guess we're watching something G-rated because I don't think she's going to love Mindhunters this evening. I don't think she's going to sleep well.
Yeah.
It was some R-rated movie, but yeah. So it's, it's so funny because when we had the second child, my wife was like, we need to have a second so they can play. And I was like, yeah, 2 sounds good. And now when I'm home alone with just the one, I'm like, oh, this is way easier. Like 1 is so good.
Yeah.
All they do is fight. They fight. And then when they're apart from each other, they go, I miss Claire so much. I go, well, then why do you beat the sweet Jesus out of her on a daily basis?
So true. Yep. We've said it since before we even had kids. We've always had this equation. 1 is 3. No, 1 is 1. 2 is 3 and 3 is 5. And it is crazy just how that, and you're right, man. I mean,
and Jason has twins. Twins are 8.
Yeah.
Twins count as 8.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Jason, you and your wife are, I always think that, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, but, you guys being comedians can take the piss out of me, but I really do feel like families get chosen for special children, and it's awesome that you guys are able to get them the help that they need and go through the process with them and give them a good life. I mean, I think that's fucking dope as shit.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been a weird struggle for us because I don't think I've ever talked about it with you guys, but 6 days after the twins were born, my wife had a stroke.
Yeah.
And so we almost lost her.
Jesus.
And then I'm rehabbing my wife. I have newborn twin sons. And then we found out that they had developmental disabilities. And then we have a 4-year-old who's hates his little brother, hates them. He blamed them for the stroke, and he told our pediatrician, the twins made mommy sick.
Right.
And we caught him trying to drag one of their car seats with the child in it out under the porch to leave for Amazon to take.
Oh no. No.
It's simple. You just got to print out the return label.
Put it on the twin. Right. They'll take them. They do take them.
Right on its face.
Like when a cat tries to kill the kid. Like the cat tries to smother the baby.
What's the kid going to say?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jason, that's a whole lot of stuff to all happen and hit you at once. Whenever that happens, how did you take it? Are you like, holy shit, what's going on? Or are you just having to be the strong man and just take the next step forward? And
I had to be the strong person because my wife was she was, just clinging to life at that point. And, they're trying to figure out, her injection fraction of her heart was running at 19%. So that's barely functioning at all. And it was just a completely.
Well, she has a pacemaker now.
She does now.
Wow.
Yes.
That she got because of the stroke.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Yep. They put that in. She was 28 when she had the stroke.
Oh my gosh.
And 29 when they put the pacemaker in, and she'll have that the rest of her life. So it's been I've had to be strong in times when I really, really didn't have it in me to do so, but because of them, I had to dig down deep and find something inside myself to make that happen. And so it was kind of
We always joke that Jason must have done something really horrible in a previous life. Like, not just like bad. Like he was either Hitler or Pol Pot. We don't know, but this dude was really bad.
I did some shit, guys. I did some shit.
That's not even counting his brain lesions. So tell them what they're doing, though. You got an AI. There's an AI. Did he tell you this before? There's an AI version. This company is using him as their model.
What?
And listen to this. This is such an amazing story because what they're doing is going to be the future. It's basically Jor-El with Superman, with the crystals. And you can talk to your dad long after they're gone. Dude, this is the craziest story.
So 3 months after my wife is sick, we find out I have phase 2A stomach cancer. And I'm like, okay. So
wow.
For all of my 20s and like early 30s, I think I'm invincible. Turns out I am not. And so we were faced with the fact that, look, here's the thing. I would never, my parents raised me, so I know what kind of job they did. I don't want them raising my kids.
Sure.
I wanted to have a piece of me instilled in them, and I wanted a piece of my wife instilled in them. And we were watching Superman, just like Jamie said, and when he's talking to his dad, I'm like, somebody's come up with an AI version of this. And so I start looking, and we find this company that's literally building these things. And I send them our story, and they are like, how would you guys like to be our beta testing family? And there is a fully functioning AI me who, if he called into this show right now, with as just voice, and Jamie's talked to it.
You can't tell the difference, dude.
You can't tell the
difference. Insane. I was talking to Jason, and he's like, "That's not me. That's the AI."
Wow, that is.
It sounds just like him. Has the same cadence, and if it's a stammer or however it works, it's exactly the same. It's crazy.
Wow.
So we're using it in the grief space, and my son thinks it's the greatest thing ever because he's like, it's as close to it being an Avenger as he's gonna get,
right? Because
he gets to, like, he has this robot dad that he can like talk to, and they joke back and forth. So he thinks he's Tony Stark, and he thinks it's the greatest thing ever.
Jason, when you hear this, are you like, that's not what I sound like, and everyone else is, yeah, or are you on board with it?
I did the first time, and I was like, I don't sound that whiny, do I?
You do. No, you do.
You're listening to the
honestly,
Rockstar.
I think that's why people listen to our show and come on board. Like, even when I'm having a bad day, I just call Jason and I go, how's your day? And then at the end of that phone call, I go, oof, I guess I'm doing okay.
No.
Like, people watch our show and are like, oh, Jesus, I don't, what am I complaining about?
He called me at 9:30 one night and found me. I was in my driveway, sobbing, eating cheeseburgers by myself alone.
Oh my!
And it was the happiest you'd been in weeks. It was pretty crazy.
Goodness.
But honestly, dude, that's what's honest. We talk about this with the whole parenting thing about, it's really the positivity that even blows me away because I'm such a cynic. I'm a holy cynic. I always like, bullshit. And, but he's like, every day I'm like, how do you not fake your own death and just move to Southeast Asia? I'm so confused.
I've tried, but the AI keeps finding me.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere now. Like, you could just ask it. Where would I go?
Your next move.
Yeah. You're listening to the Rockstar Dad Show. We're hanging out with Jamie and Jason from the Parents Lounge podcast. We got to go take care of some business real quick. Y'all listen to this. We'll be right back with more Rockstar Dad Show. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. Don't forget, we're on iDoby Radio every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and our podcast, which is the same thing, only longer, because normally we're long-winded. We only get 55 minutes on the radio station. So anyway, that comes out on Wednesdays. Actually, I think it's been wrong the last 2 weeks and coming in on Thursdays, but we're going to keep it Wednesdays. Going to figure it out. Everything's going to be great. We're hanging with Jamie and Jason from the Parents Lounge.
We're only human. We're allowed to make mistakes.
That's right. We don't have AI versions of us.
You can't make mistakes nowadays.
We can have a double of Gary in 2 days.
You can't make one mistake because if somebody films it and uploads it, and you're that crazy person on the plane yelling at somebody, you're immediately like, "Life's over. I got to reboot this."
That lady was from here. That was
is that right?
Yeah, the one that thought she was sitting next to an alien or whatever.
I had a woman in my neighborhood, and I watched her, sneaky. Her dog pooped on my yard, and then I unfurled. I just lost it. She went to walk away, and I was shaking with anger.
Yeah,
neighbors were coming out. I was like, "Hula, you pick up your dog!" Unfurled. No. And she got kind of scared about like, oh my God. And then my kids came out and I was still like seething with anger because I'm sick of picking up people's. If you can't pick up those are the worst people on earth, right?
I agree.
The people who drive slow in the left-hand lane and the people who don't pick up their dog crap are the two worst people on earth.
Yeah.
And so I unfurl. And then later, all my neighbors to a person was like, hey, listen, we're with you. We totally agree. Horrible. But somebody films that of you shaking with anger, screaming, and that clip goes, and I go, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You can't have that one moment because it's for eternity. It's crazy.
You're so right. I'd like to add to your list though, people who stop in a moving walkway in an airport.
The worst.
If you
Or stand in a doorway.
stand in a doorway. If we're walking briskly through an airport and you just stop to look around, all you got to do is pull over. It's just like we're in cars. Do not.
Where do we stand on the picking up, bagging your dog's poo, but then throwing it in someone else's trash can?
Okay, this is an interesting topic. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Actually, Jason, you groaned. What do you think?
I am not a fan of it. That is, I have unfortunately, sometimes those bags are not the high quality bags we use here at our home, and they break open, they get all over your trash can, and there's nothing I want to do less than clean up another dog shit that's not my own.
Jamie, I saw your head shaking. What did you
So it happened to me and I lost my mind back in the day before. And I have a dog.
Yeah.
And then I kind of came to terms with it. So here's my thought process. If the trash can hasn't been like my own dog only walks around my block. I kind of know all the neighbors. One guy did light me up who I didn't know very well. I put it in, but here's what I only put it in if the trash hasn't been picked up yet.
Bingo.
Once the trash has been picked up and it's put back down, you cannot put it into that trash can.
No.
Because then it sits for a week. You can't do that.
Also,
but if it's about to get picked up, I'm okay with it.
Here's why. Once a month, I leave my trash cans at the curb for an extra day because a cleaning service comes around and they clean my trash cans for me. Okay? Yeah, I'm a little bit bougie in some areas, and that's fucking one of them. All right? So anyway, that trash can has to be empty. So if somebody's throwing dog shit in there, that's not empty, and I don't know whether they would skip it or not. But anyway, you're right. If there's still trash, what about you, Gary?
Yeah, so I was going to go the no, don't do it. The thought had crossed my mind, but I haven't gone there. I just, do the walk of shame with my dog shit in a bag in my hand as I walk home. But I think I could subscribe to as long as there's still trash in there and it hadn't been picked up, but I have not committed that yet.
Yeah.
So it's really only that one day, that one morning you can do it.
Yeah.
I have such a good neighborhood though. Like we even take each other's trash cans in, like, we're pretty lucky. I'm so amazed how people don't get along with their neighbors. It's like you talked about, like people I don't even know why they sell rear view mirrors in cars, because nobody cares about anybody else. Cars literally just pull up in the middle of the street, just pull up and wait for somebody to come out. You're like, dude, you can't go up 30 feet and pull over to the side of the curb.
Right.
Nobody cares about anybody else anymore. They're a brand. They need to monetize it. You're in my way. Like, there's no community anymore. If Kennedy said, like, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, people go, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, country. I'll do what I want.
Man, the car thing, have you had the thing happen where two cars are pulled up next to one another, one going either direction, having a conversation?
Yes.
And and they just keep talking for a minute, and you're like, what the fuck is happening up there?
Yeah. Once a car pulls up behind either of those cars, they need to be like, all right, see you later, Carl.
Yeah. While you're moving forward, oh shit, we better go, buddy. I'll text you or whatever.
Yeah. They hold a finger up. Hey, hold on for a second.
No,
dude, this is a public street. I'm about to smash into the back of your
100%,
car.
and shit my pants at the same time. Like I've got to get home.
It's the same people who walk four abreast on a sidewalk. You're like single, or how about bikes? When I'm all for biking.
Yeah.
Single file, dude. You can't go abreast.
I agree.
You're blocking the whole lane. No one can even get around you. What are you doing?
Hate it. And here in Texas, they have like the same, I guess, rights. I don't know what you call it, but like they can fucking do that. Like they can just drive on any road they want, I think. and they're just a moving vehicle that you're just happen to be behind, like it's a goddamn tractor or something, and they don't have to pull over and let you by, and they don't. And I hate bikes so much.
In this day and age, and people get killed all the time.
Yeah.
It's funny. I see people crossing crosswalks, and I do it differently. When I was a kid, like when you went to go across a crosswalk, you would kind of make eye contact with the car coming at you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And nowadays, with everyone on their phone, I see people just slow walking across an intersection, not even looking up. And I'm like, dude, yes, you're going to be right officially in the court case, but you're going to be dead. I don't know what I tell my kids. I go, you have to look.
Yeah.
Nobody looks. Nobody gives a shit about anything else anymore.
Yeah, parking lots.
Everyone's the center of the universe. It's crazy.
Parking
when
lots.
my wife was pregnant with the kids, I got hit by a car going.
Jesus!
I was walking across the side, the crosswalk, and this woman was on her cell phone, not looking, and she wasn't going very fast, but it was enough that I Winnie the Pooh rolled over the top of the car and then across the thing, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
You didn't look up and make eye contact with her?
I did after, yes, and then
after you got hit by a car.
Yeah.
You got to look early. No, you definitely did something in a previous life, man. You did something horrific.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
I can't verify it, but I mean, there's enough evidence that karmically I'm paying for something.
I got hit by a car in high school. But to be fair, it was like midnight. I was hammered. It was outside of a party. And I luckily hooked my arm onto the front bumper and was dragged like 75 yards to the point where my down parka, the back was gone. It had ripped off. I'm one of those, like, should have been dead. Hammered. This guy dragged me along like a snow-covered road, and my parents saved the coat for you. Like nowadays, I would be worth millions. We would have sued everybody, but it was New Hampshire many years ago, and people were like, well, I guess he's okay, and that's it. We all moved on.
Gonna have to get a new coat, though.
I needed a new coat. It was covered in blood.
Oh,
that's both terrifying and amazing.
Yeah,
it was crazy. One of my friends dragged the guy out of the car. It was another like a senior, and they beat the sweet Jesus. But I was unconscious. I had smashed my head, and I went to the hospital and had a concussion. But for some reason, I guess I grabbed the bumper. Everyone was like, it was insane. You were under the car, hanging on, and I got dragged for like 75 yards up the street.
That is fucking terrifying, man. It's that is so
hilarious.
scary. Well, let's get back into parenting talk.
Yes.
What was the idea for the podcast? I mean, you guys, let's also talk. Wait, let's back up a little bit. You guys are both stand-up comedians. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, and Jamie, I know you act. Jason, do you act as well?
I do.
So I came from paranormal reality TV.
Right. Oh, that's how we met. One of our favorite guests, Dave Schrader.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So correct me, you were on a show with Dave, is that right?
Well, I've done a lot of different
I guess we both were
over the years.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I have worked. I've known Dave Schrader for as long as I have done paranormal everything. I used to travel around with George Lutz, who the Amityville Horror was based on. So I was like his protege. And I did a TV show called The Extreme Paranormal that used to run on A&E. And then I did a bunch of other ones. And during the pandemic, I was stuck at home. I all that stuff was going on that I was talking to you guys about. And I was like, I need an outlet as a parent. So I started a podcast called Dadpocalypse.
Oh, okay.
And Dave said to me, hey, I have a guy who you should have on as a guest. You might remember him from Haunted Live. He's been, he was on a million things. He's a comedian. And he talked about Jamie, and Jamie came on. He was running the Dadlands podcast. And he and I, he came on my show and we just clicked, and we ended up combining Dadlands and Dadpocalypse into what is now the Parents Lounge.
Nice.
True story.
How long ago was that?
2 years.
Heading for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So post COVID or coming out of
mid-COVID.
Mid-COVID. Got it.
We're coming out of COVID, I guess.
Yeah. And so both of you guys into paranormal stuff, and both of you end up doing parenting podcasts. It's obvious.
So funny. I was not a paranormal guy whatsoever. I had been an actor. I was on My Boys for the Run, and I did Friends and Will and Grace and King and Queens and all these sitcoms and stuff. And then I started hosting a few shows, and I hosted for Discovery this history show called America Facts versus Fiction, which is awesome. I think it's still on Discovery Plus, like 4 seasons of you think you know Paul Revere? Here's the real story behind Paul Revere. And so I'm finishing that, and I'm working on Tacoma FD, this sitcom with the Broken Lizard guys that I'm still doing, which is on now on Thursday nights on True TV. And I was shooting that, and I got a crazy call like midweek, and it was one of the guys from Discovery. He's like, "Hey man, could you be in Nashville tomorrow?" And they were doing this crazy show called Haunted Live, where you would they would go on a live paranormal hunt. The show was live at 8 p.m. That show went live to the world for an hour and a half. It was crazy. And I replaced the other host. The other host had done 2 episodes, and I guess it just wasn't a right fit or something. And so literally the next day I got on a plane. I had never even seen the paranormal world. And then I was standing live hosting this crazy paranormal hunt with the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. And we were at like these crazy Civil War plantations where like numerous ghosts had been seen or something. And it was the middle of the night outside of Nashville. And it was this crazy show. And we ended up doing 10 episodes. And then through that, we did Haunted Live, the Salem witch trials and that's where I met Schrader, and we co-hosted with Jack Osborne.
Okay.
It was like a who's who of celebrity ghost hunters. And that's how Schrader and I kind of ended up. So I was all new to the paranormal world, but I was like, oh, it was so much fun. And we just had a blast and stuff. And that's how I ended up meeting Jason.
And that guy, Dave Schrader, can scare the shit out of you. I mean, that guy.
He's the best. I just talked to him yesterday. We have something else coming in the future that's going to be super cool. Schrader's the best.
I love that guy. And it's funny. When we all met, I recognized you both. I really couldn't put my finger on it. And then, Jamie has been in fucking everything. Like
Everything.
Like name a show he's been on it. And I mean, like, and movies too. Like it's pretty nuts. You have
less movies, but yeah, a lot of TV. So back in the sitcom days, I used to do a lot of sitcoms, and then Parenthood, and I can't remember them all. NCIS, yeah, just kind of guessed. But My Boys was my main. I played Mike Callahan for 4 seasons on My Boys, which was on TBS.
Yeah,
and that was really the big one that kind of got me some notoriety and a nice paycheck.
But I mean, you did some good ones. How I Met Your Mother, Third Rock from the
Oh my
Sun,
God, that was
Arrested
so much
Development.
fun. Still to this day.
Saved
How
by
I Met
the
Your
Bell. You did with our good friend Dennis Haskins.
I did. Yes. Haskins was on there. I did Saved by the Bell, the new class. And it was so funny because we just had Andrea Barber on our podcast who she's from Full House or whatever. And it was funny to talk about all these child actors because I just did Aaron and Aaron. I did Shake It Up with Zendaya and Bella Thorne.
Wow.
I did Austin and Ally. I've done all these kids shows, and I've seen what it's like when you're a kid actor.
Yeah.
And, all these kids watch these things and they go, oh, I want to do that for a living. And you're like, it's a job. It's like it's hard to watch these like 9 and 10-year-olds run and do a class and then come back. And so it was really amazing to see Andrea. I think it's hard to successfully get to parenthood when you have that much fame and notoriety as a child.
And she did it though. I mean, what are the 5 that we've talked to that have come out the other side?
You almost have
of
to
that?
quit the business, go to college, have a real life, and then kind of try to find your way back in.
There's not a whole lot that like end up, like the Zendayas of the world are not the norm. It's
it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier. Like, just a normal person can be caught doing something stupid and it ruins their life.
Yeah.
But if you're a child star and you grow up and you turn into a teenager and the world's watching and you make your one mistake and it's gonna be a huge news.
Can I tell you the one thing I've seen? This is the one thing that makes child actors succeed to adulthood, and it's parenting. Every kid I saw who made it out successfully was because their parents were awesome and their parents were involved. And not to bring it back to our parenting show, but it's about, we talk about everything else about, the school's got to do this and this, as a parent, you've got to be a good parent to kind of help your kids out.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Man, I'm loving this. This is great. We're talking with Jamie and Jason from the Parents Lounge. Got to take another break. We will be right back after this. Y'all listen up. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show, and Gary and I are here. we're hanging with Jason and Jamie from the Parents Lounge, which is it's like a sister podcast, only like we're bros. Like
I think there's a word for that.
what is it?
Brother.
We're brothers. Brother podcast. Yeah.
You're a bro.
I thought it was a bromance myself.
Bromance,
Bro.
kind of thing. There's so many good ones out now. And so it's you sort of feel good when people actually listen to yours, don't you? It's a good feeling.
We do, and we've been lucky. I mean, like you guys, it's so the tough thing is a lot about podcasting is the guests. And we've been lucky enough to have you guys. We met you guys doing this crazy show, but we've had some amazing guests on, and it really kind of drives things. I think it's really cool for people who listen to your show or our show or whatever these are to hear how parenting, people feel so lost sometimes, and they feel like this horrible thing's only happening to them. And we always say it takes a village. And when you see other people, like when people watch our show again, I joke about it, but I talk to Jason, I go, oh, I guess I'm doing everything's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Because when you hear other people's nightmare stories, it reminds you that we all have gone through this, man. We all have had to take our kids to the emergency room. We've all couldn't find our kid because she was hiding somewhere. We've all lived this. And so by hearing these stories, I think the listeners can then, I think it just helps people kind of get through this thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think you're right.
Go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, I think we all get caught up in our days. We all get caught up in our lives and in our chaos and in our drama and stress. And it's easy to think, oh my God, I'm the only person going through this. And it's nice to hear other people are having the same thing.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I really love about our show and the guests, and I'm sure you guys are the same way, is it's parents with different sets of circumstances. I love when we have people who are good co-parents and people who are good single parents and people, because that tends to be something where I think a listener might feel like they're out there on an island, and so it's good to put some of that into perspective, I think sometimes. And we get all kinds. You guys get to have females, which is nice because they're probably better. Because dads
we bring some moms in every now and then, yeah. But even with Jason's nonverbal children, I was like, wait, what? What's happening? And as soon as he told me about it, and we talked about it on the show, so many people responded and were like, "I'm dealing with this. I have a friend who's dealing with." We're all going. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was so prevalent." With you think it's such a niche thing, but there's people every day going through stuff with their kids that you can't even imagine. It's crazy.
It really is. Yeah, it is. It is nuts. So, as you guys got into the podcasting thing or whatever, and are you guys both still? I mean, actually, let me rephrase that because I obviously got caught up on my words there. Jason, are you still out and actively doing the comedian thing, or is it with the 4-year-olds and all that? Is it harder to do the traveling and what's going on with you?
Oh, I couldn't leave for very long. So Jamie and I, I typically, Jamie and I do branded Parents Lounge shows together. We do a couple of them a year. Mm-hmm. And then if there's a local show, I've opened for Meredith Masony, or I've done a handful of shows here or there, a couple of hours away. But to go on tour, I never would be able to leave just because of the situation with my kids and their disabilities and my wife's detriments with her stroke. Sure. I couldn't I couldn't go on a 2-month tour, a month tour. I would, I could get away for a weekend every 6 months, but I couldn't go for a long period.
Yeah. And did you used to tour? I mean, was that a thing back in the day?
No, I had been strongly in the paranormal world before kids.
Yeah.
And so I was, I had a paranormal show on Amazon Prime called Hellier that I had done, and some other paranormal documentaries that I had kind of worked on. And that once I had kids, that no longer was viable. And so I didn't start doing comedy until Jamie and I got together. Yeah. So
the first show he ever did, we headlined Sarah, Pennsylvania, and the kid got up and did an hour of material.
No shit.
And he never really, he really worked. He took they're like stories, and we kind of boiled them down, and then he got up. To his credit, I'd never seen anyone do it because I bombed a million times before I started to get good.
Yeah.
And he was one of those, jumped up and he's like, yeah, it was pretty good. I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, good for you.
It's not supposed
man.
to be that easy.
Yeah.
So it was pretty great. It was really great to see. And since then he's off and running, but I'm the same. I don't get out much, if it's financially really, really lucrative, then I'll take it. But this is so funny. I've started a new Father's Day tradition this year. My buddy opened a club in Dallas, TK's Comedy Club, fantastic restaurant / comedy club. And he had just opened it and said, hey, would you come out for Father's Day and do the weekend? And at first I was like, I can't do that, man. I can't. It's Father's Day. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so I went for Father's Day weekend. And it was the greatest Father's Day I've ever had. I'm going to every year book. And at first I felt a little guilty on that Sunday. I was like, I can't. I feel terrible. I called home that Sunday morning to Father's Day. And my wife's like, oh, we're all next door. The kids are in the pool.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I wanted to just call in for Father's Day. And I heard my wife go, Hannah, get out of the pool and wish your father a happy Father's Day. And my daughter went, later. And I stopped feeling guilty. And that's it. So now I'm permanently booked in Dallas every Father's Day. That's my new annual tradition.
It's very true, man. It's like, and it doesn't matter their age. I mean, they really, it's like, just open the socks so we can get back in the pool. I mean, for the love of God.
Like each year I have to oh my gosh, these are the socks I wanted so badly.
Yeah.
Holy cow, how did you know? This is perfect.
I guess I'll start wearing cologne. Great. This is neat. With the Marshalls tag on it.
They got the cologne at Marshalls for $9.
As a father though, we've missed Father's Day for being on tour. I would much rather be gone for Father's Day and be home for whatever game or dance recital or
it's
Halloween.
Our day. It's our day. Why are we giving it to them?
But it's sort of like that with everything, though, right? Like, you go through that weird time where you're just like, Dad really doesn't get a lot of shit for Christmas, But when you're sitting there and you're the dad, you really don't. First of all, you don't want the wife going out and spending a bunch of money just so that you have some shit to open. Okay. Secondly, and you know what? We're men. If we need something, we pretty much just go get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm not talking about a fucking car, because we all know cars and puppy commercials where you're getting that for somebody for a fucking Christmas is all bullshit. Nobody buys anybody a fucking car for Christmas. That's an expense that has to be discussed. And a puppy is the same way.
Yeah.
But the other thing, around Christmas or birthday or Father's Day or whatever, my wife's like, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I think of it, I'll get it. But right now, I don't know.
I want to sit here and watch you guys have a great morning. I want to keep the trash under control because that's my role in all of this. And especially since, year 3 or whatever, living in this house, when somebody threw away $100 bill and we never found it. I'm keeping the shit under control now. Yeah, that fucking happened.
I believe it. Hey, dude, we lost an engagement ring.
Oh, no.
The stone.
No.
Did I ever tell you this, Jason?
No, I never heard this story.
Oh, my God, dude. My wife came home one day, inconsolable, like someone had died. And she was like, how we gonna? And she held her hand up. And I looked at, by the way, I was on a TV show at the time. I was a series regular. Just so we're all on the same page
I think
Tiffany diamond ring.
Woo, we're picking up what you're putting down. Yeah.
And the insurance, I don't know if you've insured a diamond ring. It's very expensive. So I did not insure it because I did the math and I said, well, if she doesn't lose this ring in 7 years, then we're even, because it paid, otherwise you paid for the ring twice over 7 years insuring it.
Yeah.
So she shows me hold up the ring. I can't with it's not, I can't. And the stone's missing. Stone's missing from the ring.
Oh,
and I'm like, So for 3 days, she laid in a fetal position on a bed. I mean, she sobbed for 3 days. She lost weight. I don't think she ate. She was beside herself. I went, and it wasn't, you couldn't even look for a ring. I was looking for a stone, a little diamond stone. I mean, not that little. It had some size. It was a really expensive stone. And we never found it, ever. And then we bought another ring. We had to replace it. And then I insured it, which basically means I bought 3 over 10 years. I'll buy 3 diamond rings for my wife. That's how
Wow.
much
Oh,
I
boy.
love her.
Wow.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
But you're not bitter about this at all.
Whew, I just had some PTSD from that. That was a bad.
Did you skimp any on the second one?
No, you think I know? No, and not, yes. I went to Phil's Diamond Rings downtown LA. No, we went back to Tiffany and replaced it. And here's what we did do. They kind of gave us, I think they gave us half off the second one because we said the tines that were holding the stone were flawed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I tried my best, and so
Sure.
I think they kind of gave us. They were like, all right, we'll take a little bit off, which still the profit for Tiffany is remarkable.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
I could
hear-
use that money right now.
But I hear Phil's Diamonds is right next to Tom's rental car and Bob's bank, right? I mean, that's a
Yeah.
It
good,
is, yeah.
that is a,
Same strip mall.
that is a good.
He's my cousin on my dad's side.
Got it.
But he's a solid good guy.
What a great location they have found to do. Maybe they're all brothers. Who knows? So what's the summer been like there, Jamie, for you? You said you're very excited for school to get back in.
Just to get back to them being, taken care of from 8 to 5. We have aftercare after school.
Yeah.
And, and also just to get, it's so funny. I was just looking at the reading list. I taped it to the refrigerator,
Mm-hmm.
which I put up whatever the last day of school was back in May or whatever. I taped it up there and said, all right, we're going to knock out some of these books. Just looked at it. Boop, 0. Haven't read.
Yeah.
Dude, we're having iPad issues. We're really having and I talked to my daughter yesterday, in depth. I go, listen, it's not your fault. It's designed to addict you. You are addicted to the iPad.
Mhm.
She gets up in the morning at 7. She's like, can I go on my iPad? I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as school starts, I've talked to her about it. I said, listen, it's summer. I'm going to be a little more lenient. But when that thing starts, I think the iPad's gone, man. I don't know what to do because I don't know how to get through this thing and not have these kids just be addicted to their electronics.
We enacted we did the same thing, very lenient throughout the summer, much more than we always think we're going to be. And honestly, because it's fucking 120 degrees outside, it's too hot to swim, we have a pool that we built during COVID because we were so bored and it's so hot here, right. During the summer that it's just not even enjoyable to be out there. And so we were leaning on it. And now that he's back in school, he has a time limit on it afterwards.
What's the time limit? What have you put up?
Right now, it is on days where he has activities, it's an hour. And then on days where he doesn't have activities, it's an hour. And then we sort of are again, he's just been back a week. So we're still feeling that out, but he's pretty much stuck to it. I mean, last night he and I watched a movie together and had dinner. Casey went out with a friend for her birthday, and normally when you watch a movie, I'm doing the little quotes. He's on 2 other screens at the same time, he's playing Roblox while you're watching the movie or whatever. And he put the shit down, and he actually watched and asked me questions and we had a nice time, which I realize that's trading one screen for another, but shit, at least he's, not a zombie,
I said the same thing. Honestly, part of me is just watch the TV. To me, some way the TV is actually better than the iPad, but I don't.
It is because it's not exactly right in front of their face. It's across the room. So there's other stuff in the world, at least. Jamie, I saw your reel that you did about get out of the pool. And then I'm taking away your iPad and the kid jumps out of the pool.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
At the end of last school year, my son lied to me.
Uh-oh.
And that was worse than what he lied about. And so we had a big talk. But I took away his iPad and video games. And when I took him away, I didn't give him for this amount of time. I said, until I decide that you get him back. And we ended up doing it for, 2.5, 3 weeks. But he knew how big trouble he was in, that during that time, he never once asked hey, when am I getting it back? He just rolled with it. And for the first couple of days, he kind of sulked around and didn't know what to do. But then after a couple of days, he just rolled back into a normal role of having other stuff to do and figuring it out.
Can we talk about the lie? I want to know what kind of lie dictates a 3-week hiatus from the iPod, or is it too deep to get into?
No, it's not too deep, and it was a stupid lie, and that's kind of why I made it such a big deal. It was about one of the classes he was in, and they have 9-week school periods, 9-week grade periods, and so like I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks into the 9-week period, like he just had this one grade that was really low, and I talked to him. I go, "Hey man, we need to get this grade up. What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, that teacher just hasn't inputted any grades. It's fine. I've turned everything in. It's just he doesn't update the grades till the end of the 9 weeks." I'm like, okay. And, a few weeks go by and I keep on checking it. And after a while, I'm like, hey, these grades are still not up. What's going on? And he's like, yeah, I've turned everything in. It's, just got to wait till the end of the 9 weeks. And after another week, I was like, screw this. And I emailed the teacher and I'm like, hey, just checking. I don't know what's going on, but he's saying that he's turned stuff in and I just don't feel good about it. And the teacher's like, I was actually just about to email you about this. I don't know what's going on. He's a good kid. He's good in class. He's just not turning anything in. And so I was like, you motherfucker.
Wow.
I also went a similar route and took the iPad when we caught my son lying. Jamie, it was my kid's last day of summer recreation. And I walk in and the counselor says to me, hey, can you come over? We need to talk to you. And I said, sure. And she said, are you okay? And I said, yes. Why?
Oh no.
My son told the entire staff that I was sick and dying and that he was starting to GoFundMe to help take care of the family. So we had to have a discussion and a suitable 3-week no screen punishment about fraud and obviously money laundering and some other embezzlement schemes that he was deeply headed towards.
It's not fraud if you die, by the way. It's just not fraud.
Yeah.
If you die.
I still am not sure he and his mother aren't in on
part
some
B of his
insurance
plan.
thing.
He might have had an elaborate plan to bring it
kid.
together in the third act. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he is selling children, isn't that right? He's putting them out on the doorstep for sale. And
that was just a simple Amazon return, but sure.
Honestly, I feel like the kid's a go-getter. He's out
Yeah, he
trying to
really
make
does.
I am raising a
hustler.
tiny Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
He is in every way escape. Like we have to watch him in every way.
Pretty soon he's going to be getting you into crypto. He's like, Dad, I gotta get you into crypto.
He's the
I
head
got
of the
this fund.
pyramid
I got
scheme.
this giant fund. And then I'm putting on the Fire Festival. I really think, Dad, you got to get involved with me. I got a lot of good stuff on the horizon.
The Amazon return thing makes me think I think it was around the time that my first son was born. There's this thing going on in Iowa where like they had passed a law where like you could give up your kids to the fire department, not just like as infant little tiny babies, but like all the way up to 18. And so people from like other states were driving, I think it was Iowa, and like we're bringing the kids to the fire department. So that's one of the threats that I give my kids whenever they're acting up. I'm like, I will drive you to the fire department in Iowa if you don't straighten up.
My dad used to say that to me.
Yeah,
He would go and dropping you off at the orphanage.
Yeah, the orphanage was a big thing for me too. And then I had a friend get sent to military school, and I got in a fight with my mom. And I was just like, man, you know what? Just send me to military school. And I fucking showed up from home that day, and there were brochures on the table. And I was like, I fucked up. I fucked up. I should not have said that. Let's get back to just, what did you need me to do? Again, I'm sorry. I could get right to that if that's still a thing. What's next for you guys on the horizon? What's happening with you guys as far as the show is concerned, and just personally, artistically, what's going on? Jamie, what's happening?
Well, we are officially on strike. I'm on strike. I've been out picketing a bit. I'm on Tacoma FD. Season 4 is airing right now on True TV. It's on Thursday nights. It'll end up on HBO Max, and I'm in the last couple episodes of this season. I play the chief of police, Captain Polanski, and that is awesome. For our show, we have a live gig coming up in Sarah, Pennsylvania, but our show is live every Tuesday night. We do on Facebook and YouTube. You can find us, The Parents Lounge, 7 p.m. Pacific. and we do that show live, and then we put it up on iTunes. And if you can't catch us live and actually interact and put comments up and questions for our guests, then you can go catch it on iTunes under the Parents Lounge. And we have some great guests. Reed Scott's coming up this week. Pat McGann, the comic. We've had Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy,
Wow.
Dave Keckner,
Goodness.
Richard Marks.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
That was one of my
Yep.
favorite episodes. So it's just one of those things about, we call it Parental Mental Health Day. And people listen to the show and kind of, again, feel better about their life choices. So,
Yeah.
Jason?
Like Jamie said, we have our live show in Sayre, Pennsylvania, October 6th and 7th. Tickets are on sale now for that. It's me, Jamie, and the comedian and impressionist from America's Got Talent, Justin Ruppel, is going to be with us. I have a new paranormal documentary about the case that my wife said, that's it, you're done with that world, that comes out on Amazon Prime on September 8th, called The Unbinding.
Nice. Oh man. Yeah. We didn't really get to chat about that.
Can you get into any of the why the wife said this is the end, or do you need to save that?
When dealing with some of the entities, they take things pretty literally, and they aren't big on the joke or the double meaning to words. And I may have, as an early dad, said a joke that the entity. So I used to work with the Newkirks, who own a paranormal museum, and they have all these haunted artifacts. And the artifact that I was joking about, I did not know was in the room with them when I was doing a live stream, and I made a joke and it heard it. And from my joke, it took it as a sign that it could show up here and take my kid. And it showed up here in the middle of the night, and it caused all kinds of craziness.
Wow.
Fuck that.
He was 2 years old at the time, and we found it in the nursery. And my wife said, no, you are done.
Wow.
And so the unbinding is a part of the story of how that all came to be, what we did to do to finish it. And it is a terrifying case that shakes me to this day.
Holy shit.
It's also crazy that the ghosts are kind of mimicking human traits now, because nobody can take a fucking joke anymore. And that's really getting old.
It really is.
I mean, when Lizzo starts fat shaming people, it's over, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how to get out of this thing anymore.
Ghosts are so 2023 these days.
Right? It's so, I mean, come on, man. You're a ghost. Have fun. Can't you laugh at it?
Yeah.
Look.
No, they did not laugh at it. And my wife will tell you that I'm not allowed to play with Greg and Dana anymore and their haunted artifacts because of it.
That is
Apparently,
fucking
your
crazy.
wife can't take a joke either.
Jamie Kaler, and did I pronounce that correctly, Jamie?
It's Kaler, but honestly,
Yeah.
close enough.
Kaler.
Doesn't
knew
offend me whatsoever.
Jamie Kaler and Jason Gowen from the
Gowan, but close.
Gowan. God damn it! It's so funny. I had. Are you Gowan? Is that what you said?
Yep, Gowan.
I
Yep.
had Gowans
Jarrett-
down the street
Jarrett,
from me.
We've
Yeah.
known each other
I know.
for 35 years. I have been meaning to tell you it's Wiseman.
Well, listen, I just want to tell both Jaret and Gary that I really enjoyed our time on the Rockstar Dad Show. And
But-
we are, honestly, dude, we're monster fans. And,
Dude,
and
us
it's really,
too, man.
thank you for having us on. And we love, honestly, it's so much fun to do your show.
Yeah, the Parents Lounge. You guys can find it at on YouTube, Facebook, and then on iTunes. And of course, you know, you've been listening to the Rockstar Dad Show. Hope you guys have had a good time this week. It's been fun. We will do this again. Yeah, let's be on each other's show a couple of times a year. It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
All right, you guys be good. We will see you next time.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know, some rockstar dads who started a show. Until the next episode.